Good morning. It's morning. It'll be afternoon soon where I am, but it's morning right now. And thank you for stopping by my channel. This is Anaiis Salles. And if you haven't watched my videos before, let me just give you a quick overview. My readings are intuitive. I don't use tarot in the traditional way for a lot of reasons, which if you want to know about, you can always email me and ask me why, or leave a comment and ask me why. I read only for those who are on the sacred union journey of ascension and who are in the amazing process of coming into union with Source, themselves, and their internal masculine-feminine balance, and doing so while learning how to become a conscious co-creator. That is the part of the ascension process. And at its core, the ascension process is reaching a frequency of connection to Source and unconditional love so that we can recover our own wholeness and sovereignty as Source-sparked beings, and we can return to our origins within Source. We are on the return journey. That is what ascension is. We're on the return journey, and as we're doing our return journey, we are pulling back and integrating every fragment, every nanoparticle that we've ever expressed or that we've ever absorbed that is not part of Source co-creation or part of Source alignment. And that, my lovely, lovely friends, is a lot. I just went through the Lion's Gate, 8-8. I'm on the sacred union journey. I'm aware of who the emanation of my counterpart is at this time, with whom I am doing up, a lot of doing up, of cleaning up and recovery and co-creating in alignment with unconditional love and Source. So I'm also part of an amazing soul group, and some of us met 25 years ago when I began my teaching, healing, and facilitating spiritual transformation around the world. And we've been working together ever since. And then we have some new arrivals. And it has been just the most delightful and extraordinary, gobsmacking, and mysterious journey. Part of that journey included my awakening in 1989, and many of you are going through that now as part of your ascension process. I went through it when I did early because I've been through it before, and I've returned here to be part of helping with making sure the next opportunity for an entire collective of a species, of a human species, has an opportunity to succeed. So I bring a lot of experience to this work. I have an extensive biography, if you care to look at it on my website. So we are moving more quickly, more rapidly. More people are waking up. And they're waking up inside of a gorgeous consciousness, a fabric of consciousness that didn't exist in this domain, that didn't exist in this reality for a long, long time. And it has been a laborious work, labor of love to get where we are at this juncture in time. Earlier this week, I did a video on timelines collapsing and timelines merging. That is actually a skill set when you reach a certain level of frequency and awareness. And many people are coming into that and will be coming into that through the remainder of this year. It's very intense. It can be very disorienting. very confusing, and there's a great need for self-care of the body when we're in that particular circumstance, either when we are our higher selves, if you'd like to use that term. I prefer the term meta being or monad, is rearranging, reweaving optimal timelines for us to stay on the ascension journey in as much wholeness and sovereignty as is possible. That's the purpose of merging timelines. And when we merge timelines, we also have a tremendous opportunity to have pockets of unconscious and contaminated energy of light and love, and let's just say subconscious destructive energy that needs to come to the surface so we can be accountable for it and take responsibility for it. This is the work that you're doing, and when you're coming into union, you and your counterpart, whether divine masculine or divine feminine, makes no difference. It's about energy. And if you've watched any of my other videos, when we emerge from source as individuated consciousness, the individuated consciousness of essence emerges first, and that is considered the energy, the magnetic energy of the divine feminine. She is the one who will make sure the energy returns to source. She's returning the essence. The divine feminine does that function. The divine masculine holds the electric creative current, which is the energy of expansion. And the electric masculine and the magnetic feminine work together in a dance of co-creation that becomes more and more and more conscious. But in the primal form, it's just energy. It has no words. All that is there is primal sound. And primal sound emerges before what many light workers think of as the light that they are working with. So we have love that expresses itself as sound. Then we have sound that reaches into another form, another angle of perception, another capacity for individuation of consciousness, and that is light. We have been dealing with, on planet Earth, the 3D consciousness, the matrix, is a system of separation in which light gained enough of its own sense of self to believe that free will would be its ultimate power, and that using free will it could choose to become separate from source, and beyond that, that it could become more powerful than the energy that had created it. There's a lot more that I could share with you. If you look on my my website, I mean, I haven't even had the time to put together a website or a blog about all this, because I've been doing non-stop co-creative healing work, life coaching and facilitating, literally, and doing my own work and evolutionary growth process since 1989. The reason I'm telling you all of this right now, if you're still watching, is because we're moving into a new level. And many of you are feeling this. And many of you who have been through the Lion's Gate are aware that you're coming into a new level of energy with your counterpart. And so the reading today, and if you know what I do, none of it is based on tarot. It's all based on current energies that are emanating from source and coming through, you could think of downline or through the beautiful system of consciousness that we are a part of, that is organic and that is still aligned with source and source co-creation. So if you are aligned with that, you are hitting a new, you are evolving into, you are surfing a new wave of consciousness and unconditional love. And again, these waves are all returning, they are all washing back to your point of origin within Source. As you're doing this, still in a body, your DNA is being activated. Many of you in the coming weeks and through the end of the year will not only have the experience of merging with your sacred union counterpart, your beloved other, but you will also very likely have the experience of actually feeling your highest self, your oversoul, merging with your personality, your body consciousness, and your everyday awareness. This is what happened to me in 1989. It only took a few minutes. It wasn't even as disorienting to my ordinary waking consciousness as some of the timeline merges I've been through have been. They've been really, really challenging because they've been so fast. But I was prepared. I knew that it would happen. I had been prepared for lifetimes in untangling and coming out of the stories that we have all been conditioned to think are true and that we believe are the basis of conscious reality. So for those of you who are going to go through that kind of merger, I would encourage you to be as open and welcoming to it as you have been opening and welcoming to making a connection with your divine counterpart, your beloved. And at the same time, this is the point where if you have not developed discernment, you could get yourself into a boatload of difficulty, because it's all about frequency. And if your frequencies are aligned with Source co-creation, you're going to be fine, and you'll continue on your ascension journey, basically uninterrupted and undisturbed and undistressed and without being derailed. But if you haven't yet completed a sufficient level of DNA activation and integrating your mental bodies, taking those templates and reorganizing them so they fit into a 12 chakra energy field, if you haven't already had the experience of your third chakra being dissolved as part of your union journey and recognizing that the dynamic between the mind and the heart was the mind's attempt to control everything and to hold itself above Source by believing that free will was its way to power. So if you're not yet through that journey, then be very, very, very gentle and absolutely discerning and asking what's really going on here every step of the way, and your body will be your best resonant source of discernment. So hopefully you have cleared enough of your DNA and activated so you can feel when your body is ringing like a bell. Your whole body now, just not your ears. And when you're in this state of consciousness and frequency, you will feel changes in your electrical charge. They will be the shivers and tingles that we've all really become accustomed to as we feel the resonant sound of truth, not power. So as you're going through these next few weeks and months of continued spiritual evolution and soul growth, as you are finishing up the daunting task of not only dissolving your third chakra and allowing all that information, and this chakra contains a ton of information. You've sorted through it now, and if you haven't sorted through it yet, please come to one of my workshops. This much easier way to do these things. And it's much more powerful when we do that work in group. So if you're still on this journey, the discernment is critical. A dog barking, neighbor's dog. I don't know if you can hear it. It's Shea. It's Shea, the upstairs neighbor dog. Yes, so that's a kind of a moment of interference. There was a kind of a shift in the energy where I live that has now triggered Shayla to bark. Yeah, hear it? And create a disturbance in the energy around what I'm sharing with you right now, so that I might possibly lose my train of thought, or that we're going to have just a tiniest disconnection. A distraction. You see? This is how it works. And so once you've reached a certain range of frequency and DNA activation, you are going to notice, be sensitive to, and be aware of every single distraction that is moving through you, coming at you, or has just missed you because you've been paying attention. This is the demanding, most powerful complexity of really merging with your greater being as you become a conscious co-creator. So I've just modeled that for you. Now, I can make a slight adjustment in the frequencies around me, and we'll see how Shea responds. Okay, now we have quiet. Oh, one more. I mean, this can be to the level right now where those of us in our soul group can be speaking with one another or on the phone. We can be sharing a moment of, yeah, very valuable consciousness. And it will now be accompanied by literally a clap of thunder. Okay. Now I will share with you that Shea is an incredibly wounded rescue dog. Her entire neurology and biology is a mess. And my poor neighbor, who, out of the goodness of her heart, adopted this animal. My poor neighbor who's got a marginal existence job that she loves, but it's a marginal existence job. When she goes to work now, she's had to hire dog sitters to come and stay in her apartment with Shea so the dog doesn't destroy everything. That's the energy. Okay, Shea. So I wanted to share a little bit of this with you because as we're coming into this week, we have had timelines merge. You're going to be feeling new sensations in your physical body, most likely. Because, as I was saying, before Shea interrupted, was that the mind space has been cleared out by you dissolving your third chakra. And you having cleared out and cleaned out your sacral chakra and all the distortions in your sexual centers that have been aligned with procreation and not co-creation. Yeah, now we're going to have another interruption. Oh, I love it. Yeah, like, what is she talking about? Stop her from talking. Interrupt her. Yeah, so you have also been aligning and clearing out your ancestral history as well as activating all of your DNA that will allow you to awaken into your birthright. I've been watching a lot. I watch YouTube. I watch other readers. There's so many that I have that are real favorites. And they're talking about we're awakening into our gifts. These are not gifts. Clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, direct knowing, healing energies moving through you. We have been conditioned to believe they are gifts, which means that we may not necessarily own them, that they could be taken away, or that we might have to return them. These states of awareness and consciousness are all a function of frequency, and they are not gifts. They are your birthright expressing itself. They are you being you, whole and sovereign and awake and aware and inside the circle of consciousness, the container of consciousness that you are. In a community that has now done this amazing global group work, these are not gifts. You could think of them as rewards. I would prefer that you consider them to be rewards of all the amazing processing and inner work that you've been doing for years now. For those of you who are awakening in that way, that was not my process because I've done all this before. But for those of you for whom this is new, absolutely new for the first time, it's the first time you're really feeling your intuition and you're really, your discernment is awake and your body senses are awake and you're aware of subtle energy and you're seeing colors and you're hearing differences in sound and you're aware of changes in light, and you can perceive yourself now as being part of something that a lot of people have been describing as the 5D. If this is all really entirely new to you, this is your birthright. And I hope that you will welcome these changes in you with gratitude for you, with gratitude for what you have contributed, with gratitude for the work that you've done, with gratitude for the forgiveness you've found, with gratitude for the compassion you've broadcasted. So this is going to be a little bit of a different reading today because all of the cards that I've used are from that level of you merging and having your greater being more fully embodying your physical cells. This is not just a function of light. It is a function of a combination of sound and love and then light. Sound, source, love, divine feminine, light, divine masculine. Okay, so as you know, I do freestyle readings. It's a lot like being a jazz musician, which this is actually kind of fun. So what I've done is I always get information about use this deck to translate current energies. This is helpful. This will help with a good translation process here. Rather like a dictionary. So if those of you who speak other languages, you've translated, or as you are learning other languages, you've probably invested in a good dictionary that correlates to your native language, your native tongue, but correlates into the language that you're wanting to speak, to communicate with. So I view the cards that I use as a kind of a simple bit of a dictionary that I have in my living library. So here, the first card out, we have Divine Feminine. And this came out because I was curious and I was inquiring, when I'm always asking my favorite questions, what's really going on here? And then the information arises as a a series of current energies that I can then translate in answer to those questions. The last card that came out was Divine Masculine. Now these are spiritual guidance cards, but for me, these are a recognition of the divine feminine energy, the divine masculine energy being present in this reading. Okay. Now, normally I would go to the guidance cards at the end of the reading, but today the current energies are saying this is how the flow is going to go. The card that we have from Source is Create Space. And this is the space that we are creating within us to allow and receive and welcome the merging now, not only with our sacred union counterpart and with Source, but with our higher beings. Our first emanations out from Source creation, because they will be returning with us. We will be returning through their stream of consciousness. These streams of consciousness are now all being interwoven into the human morphogenetic field, and DNA in the physical body is being activated so that you are literally creating more space and more time, and you're doing this as a conscious co-creator. So this is a very, very valuable message for those of you who are at this progression in your journey right now. That's from Source. For the Divine Masculine, we have Soul Name. Whoops. So this is the Divine Masculine hearing the sound of being called by his soul name. This is the name that is the name that you may be fortunate enough to receive your soul name during these next few weeks and months. And if you do, you can use it, and if you don't use it, that's fine, but it is the sound of who you are. It is the frequency. It is the organization of who you are. The Divine Masculine is coming into this awareness, and he'll have the opportunity to be called and referred to by his soul name if he would choose that. When I was awakened in 1989, I was given the information about what my soul name was, and that is Anaiis. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, there it is. I had been waiting for that name since I was a child. I'm not going to share my birth name. That's really not important. But I knew that my birth name wasn't my name. And I tried on lots of other names when I was a child, trying to reach and connect with my soul name. And then I did connect with my soul name when I was 39. And my soul name is Anaiis, and the meaning of it is heart and mind joined by the waters of creation. And your soul name, when you receive it, will be a frequency. It will be a frequency that will become part of who you are. And it will be part of the energy that you broadcast as an awakened human being. What came out for the Divine Feminine was inner voice. So the Divine Feminine, in the space in which she is connected to Source, hears the sound, and that sound becomes for her the inner voice of unconditional love. And it is the sound of the guidance. It is the sound of the messages it is the sound of the bubble that is speaking to us. It is the bubble of consciousness. I listened to a reader the other night, and she had gotten in one of her messages, that's what people call them, messages instead of translations, it's okay, that bubble, she says, I don't know what the bubble is. Well, the bubble is how co-creation with Source is organized. It's bubbles. Spheres within spheres within spheres within spheres within spheres. Yeah? And they're out of that when light emerges, when those spheres of awareness and consciousness emit, and they emit and exchange information, those emissions can come out as spirals, which will then form lines and create a geometry. And the geometry is about being able to take the inner voice and combine it with a divine masculine's beautiful expression as light, and create an inner voice that can be recognized as conscious communication. It's often first remains submerged in the subconscious, and then it'll show up as conscious communication in dream time, in which we'll have a powerful dream and remember it. Okay, so I would love to be able to share with you just what I have to share with you. And you can take it or leave it. If it doesn't resonate, leave it. Okay, so the black egg for me represents dark matter. This is the feminine. She is not light. She is magnetic energy. She is plasma. She is essence. And she is black. And the little bit of a reflection that we have come to learn about our space of consciousness, reality, quantum reality, is that matter, what we can describe as matter, is like our consciousness is like 4% or less of the known universe. The rest of it is incipient energy, the divine feminine essence that will, in and under the development, creative impulse from source, become form when the divine feminine, I'm going to do this now, when the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the electric and the magnetic, merge. Yeah, this is binary code. What's missing is source. And so what we've been working on has been bringing source back into this equation. So now we have a trinity. This is what your sacred union looks like. Feels like all kinds of things, but this is a very simple graphic of what your sacred union looks like. Okay. I guess this is what we're doing today, but we'll get through this reading. This is interesting. This is the jazz. This is the translation of the current energy. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. Okay. Beautiful. All right. So we have the divine masculine and the divine feminine. The next card is Soul Tree, which is the remembrance of our monadic energy that forms our soul tree. In this card, you can think of this bubble as part of a bigger bubble, which is your monadic energy organization of source in individuation. And out of this bubble is birthed a family tree. There are many trees. There are many soul trees. The human being is just one of many. But hopefully this will help you appreciate what's happening within your soul tree. The divine masculine and feminine are operating within this space. Now, you could consider that to be the union space. You could consider this to be the event space. And this would be the event horizon, as we are allowing our expression of anchored consciousness in the being we know as Gaia. She is ascending. We are rooted in her, in our hearts, and through that energy we are traveling back to source. Okay, that's soul tree. Then next we have grounding. Look at this. These cards, I mean, this is just how it happens, right? So here you can see that when we're in our everyday physical reality, we're in this space of consciousness, and we may not be aware of this bubble of energy or the gorgeous information that is around us all the time. But here we are in our ascension journey. Gaia evolving, we're evolving, DNA evolving, all of it returning back to source. And we're grounding this journey in our physical bodies as love and light, activating our strands of DNA so that when the ascension gates open, we have sufficient frequency to move through the ascension gates the whole entire process. So most human beings are walking around with maybe 3 strands of DNA activated when your birthright is 12. So when what you think of as your gifts come online, you're moving from 3 to 3.2 to 3.3 in terms of your DNA activations that are trying to gradually get you as close to at least 4 or 5 strands of DNA activated. More if your genetics will withstand those changes. So the soul tree is grounding in our 5D human species transition. Now next out we have soul writing. And this is what we are doing now with our individuated energies, the selves that we are. The people we walk around in these, we don't realize that we're part of a group of bodies, of organizations, and of consciousness. It's a minimum of 12. Some of us are aware that we're operating with 144, which if you've seen over the last few years, the number of 144,000 being relevant. And then that's important to know that information. And some of us have been aware that when we are at a oversoul level, we're talking about approximately 1,800 individuations and incarnations. And all of that information is of what we would call the soul writing. That is what this information coming from the monad in its expression of co-creation grounds its creative expression in the soul writing. And the soul writing is the rewriting that we're doing right now of our conscious expression of who we are here and who we are here. Yeah, so if you're interested in knowing more about this process or moving into this process in a more conscious way, I do have a workshop coming up in Philadelphia in September. And that is your story or your life. And that's where we go into the dynamic of what has happened here. Soul writing, soul tree, right? We've got this soul tree, grounding the soul tree in individuated expression, and then recognizing who we are within a soul family. Yeah? So we're going like this. Yeah? Do you see this? And as you go through the ascension journey, you're going from, oh, I need more fingers. We're going from your individuated sense of self and consciousness. You're merging with your greater being here, and you're in alignment with source, and then you're here, right? Let me do this for a minute. Well, let's see how this goes. Then you're here, and now you're coming up into this. This could be considered, this is not your Merkaba, but it's a little bit of a representation of your Merkaba, your spiritual light vehicle in which you can travel with your consciousness beyond space, beyond time, faster than the speed of light. So then here we are. Now this is our ascension journey. Now we're becoming aware of who we are in the soul writing that our monadic energies have done within co-creation. Yeah? Okay. So it's like this. okay? Because you have to be grounded in a structure, in a domain of consciousness, which is what Gaia is, so that you can experience yourself as an individuated being. Now, in this instance, you're an individuated human being. So we've got this, okay? Hopefully these are going to help you. Those of you who are new to this, I hope this helps you. Those of you who know this already, you know, I don't expect you to keep watching, but maybe you will, because maybe you like this way of my sharing the translation. All right, next card out is we have visualize. And this is so important because this is reclaiming our sacred imagination. Our sacred imaginations have been hijacked by the three-dimensional matrix, by the construct. We can't even visualize who we are at this level. But we have to begin to allow the visualization process to begin, right? So that our sacred imaginations are returned to us as our birthright. So we can use them not for manifestation, not aligned with the law of attraction, which is about, I want this, I'm going to make it happen, but so that we're able to visualize our relationship with the soul tree and our connection to source, and we're able to visualize, and we need our sacred imaginations in order to become beautifully aware, loving, conscious co-creators. We have to be able to visualize. Right? So many of you are here, many of you are experiencing clairvoyance, you know. You may be doing all kinds of different meditations and support processes for this journey, and you've begun to reclaim your sacred imagination. Perhaps you're spending less time watching television. Sacred masculine, sacred feminine, perhaps you're spending less time having your sacred imagination hijacked with regard to what is a relationship by rom-com movies or by westerns or by, I mean, you know, we all know the stories that we can distract ourselves with, and in the process of watching a movie that you didn't write, and it's showing back to you an outward projection that isn't yours, that's how your sacred imagination is becoming hijacked, and you don't even know that this is happening to you. You are able then to not imagine yourself in any other life but the life that you're in. Tremendous, tremendous spiritual poverty. So this is a very important place of progression on the journey, and we need to create space to be able to reclaim our sacred imagination and visualize and accept and be ready to know that when our meta being, when our monad wants to merge with us, when our oversoul comes in, we're not being taken over. We're being expanded. We're creating space so that we can actually experience who we really are. Okay. Yes, see? Another important point, because Shaya's at it again. The next card out is expansion, and this actually is a more accurate representation of a Merkaba. And so this is really part of where we are now. We need to be awake and aware. This is a number 44 card, so that we can move through creation connected to our soul tree, find our way back to source creation. This is our vehicle. This is our vehicle of awake and aware consciousness with the chakra system represented here. And you can see here the chakra that's emphasized is the heart chakra, and that is as it should be, because that is our basis of new grounding, and it is also where our connection to source abides, and it is where, when we need to get really crucial information into our ability to make a choice, that information moves from the heart into what you have known as the solar plexus, and which you may have experienced as intuition. Yeah? Okay. Next, we have soul love. So, this is you experiencing your beautiful awakening into unconditional love. Love for you. This is you nurturing your direct connection to Source. You. You. And this is you recognizing where you are in the Akashic records. Soul love, soul family, soul writing, the Akashic record. Oh, I need bigger hands. This is why you don't watch me, the agony of my shuffling. But trust me, I have meditated and shuffled these cards thoroughly. And here we have Soul Tree. Yeah? So for those of you who are new, you know, this is what's happening. And the key piece of this will being able to breathe in your heart chakra and let go of fear so that you can receive this amazing expansion of who you are. Now, for that to happen, you really have had to dissolve your third chakra and be really completely anchored and embedded in your heart center. And Divine Masculines, this is where you are taking on the responsibility of soul love and the quality of love that you vibrate through and share as frequency within your union. This is really very, very important because your sacred sexuality has to be returned and healed, and you have to be out of distorted, patriarchal, domination, manipulative, controlling, suppressive conditioning around sexuality. And it doesn't matter what body you're in, it's an energy, it's a distorted energy, and it's part of the system of separation that we are ascending from. Okay, so this is important stuff. And then we have, you know, now we're returning to the Divine Masculine. So we've had this incredible flow of energy, beginning with the Divine Feminine, moving through all these aspects of awakening into who we are in sacred union. This is what they are generating in their co-creative space. This is why the union is so incredibly precious and so incredibly valuable. It's really so, I can't, there are no words. And Divine Masculine, you have a huge responsibility. Huge responsibility right now in surrendering to this interaction with your Divine Feminine and the two of you coming closer so that you can function as one co-creative dynamic. And in order to do this, you're going to have to really work through your sacred sexuality. And that will include letting go of the conditioning that would allow you to treat your Divine Feminine as a sexual plaything, as an option. Where you're just, you know, I'm in it for the gratification, the pleasure, the gratification, how it serves my ego. And when you're in that space, you're not serving yourself, really. You're not serving the union. You're certainly not serving your Divine Feminine. And you're slowing your own progression. And so Divine Masculine, if you have been in a space of perhaps frequent use of pornography or addiction to pornography, recognize that that's how you're using your sacred imagination. You're visualizing sacred sex. You're not. It's not sacred sexuality. You're visualizing sexual energy being used in that way. There are many of you, I know, there are many of you out there who this is your current condition. And some of you may be beginning to feel like, oh wait, there's something off here, but I don't know how to release this addiction. I don't know how to reclaim my sacred sexuality. I don't know how to reclaim that. Now, if that's your situation, then you need to get some assistance within the community of divine masculines. There are organizations like Mankind that can help you with dynamics like that. Now, recently, in a reflection back to us in the United States reality field, is is having a person named Jeffrey Epstein, whose distortion of masculine sexuality is beyond the pale. Absolute, utter service to self. And incredible contributions generating brand new pain bodies with his choices. So divine masculines, I know you're on it. I know many of you are working on it. I know so many of you have been part of the Me Too movement. And so many of you have been quietly supportive of the divine feminine, who has been on the receiving end of that kind of choice making by perverted, disturbed, destructive, patriarchal, masculine energy, who honestly, truly believes that that's his birthright, to have all of that. And to have all of that going on behind the scenes, right? And having the power to keep it a secret. This is a very powerful story that we're clearing right now. So divine masculines, you are doing some very powerful work in clearing that, quote, relationship. It is a relationship. It's incredibly disturbed and distorted. It is a relationship template that the divine masculines will be doing so much to clear. So thank you for that. And at the same time, divine feminine, while the divine masculine is working on that, we are busy clearing all of the templates, the distorted relationship templates that are based in the dynamics of the dark mother or the dark feminine. And this is the woman who is the mirror, who becomes the mirror to the distortions in sacred sexuality. This is the dark feminine who becomes the manipulator, who uses sexual energy to manipulate men and other people, to manipulate for power, to manipulate for material goodies. Yeah? So we're working on this. It's very powerful stuff. Okay, now, it's going to be a long reading. Hopefully you're not in a hurry. You can always stop and come back. So the next cards that I used, I did go to the traditional tarot, and this is not a tarot deck that I use very often. It is, it's Kim Cran's Wild Unknown tarot. I have difficulty with this tarot. I love her Animal Spirit deck, but this deck is a little challenging for me. So for the divine feminine, we have out the Ten of Cups and the Six of, I guess this is Wands, which is about transformation and coming into wholeness and abundance, right? So this is the energy from the tarot that is aligned with the current energies for the divine feminine. And clarifying, we have for her, for the divine feminine, we have starfish and whale spirit. We have, this is a beautiful range of energies, right? This is from shallow tidal pools to the deepest depths of the ocean. This is who the divine feminine is in her emotional abundance and the power of consciousness that she carries as the energy of unconditional love. Yeah? Okay, so that's clarification for these energies in the divine feminine. Now, the cards that we have for clarifying, clarifying grounding. Wow, yeah. We have the Three of Swords, we have Judgment, and we have Death. Now, when I feel into the energy of the Three of Swords, a lot of people will think of it in a romantic sense of a broken heart or unrequited love. This is not what I see when I look at the Three of Swords. I see the Three of Swords as an organization, very different from the Three of Wands. This is a mental construct that is purely designed to generate heartbreak, and it goes well beyond romantic disappointments in love or disappointments in romantic love. This is the blood and gore of the planet. That's the heartbreak we're talking about here. This is the heartbreak of a mother, a father who have lost a child in war, whether that war has been a bullet battle or a drug battle. This is the heartbreak of the three-dimensional, because this is coming out. I want you to see, this is validation for grounding. This is what we are transforming. This is where we cease generating new pain bodies and supporting pain bodies already in existence. And this is where we take up judgment in discernment, and we are grounding. We are grounding this transformation in 3D reality, and now we're doing this from 5D. So I wanted to give you a slightly different perspective and why I don't use tarot in the traditional way. Okay? So this speaks volumes. I don't think I need to say any more about that. And we have from the Colette Baron Reed, oh golly, I can't see the name of the box, but her animal spirit or spirit animal deck, we have Seahorse, we have Watch and Wait. So we're going from, right, look at the range here of energy. We have from the grounding, watch and wait. This is patience. This is patience, awake in unconditional love. This is not suffering. This is patience. This is watching and waiting and listening and being attentive and aware. I love this beautiful circular energy around this seahorse spirit, because for me, it's a tiny fractal expression of this energy. This energy is everywhere, and it is around everything. Even the tiny little seahorse. It's beautiful. And those of you who are familiar with the seahorse, you're probably aware that the seahorse is a co-parenting marine animal. It carries the children. It functions in much the way that a penguin does on land. This is a very beautiful energy. Okay. Now, for Soul Tree, for our validation cards, confirmation cards, clarification cards, however you want to see it, we have the Chariot. Okay, we have the Chariot and we have the Emperor and the Empress for Soul Tree. So this is a beautiful confirmation for the Soul Tree. I mean, this is what's happening, folks. This is it. This is the divine masculine and the divine feminine coming together as individuals, moving quickly with power and discernment. And they are part of what is supporting the soul tree of each and every monadic expression of source. That's a human being right now, that's in a human collective. So that's beautiful, and I love how these things happen. Look at the whoops, here goes the horsey. I'll get it in a minute. This is the the reflection again, the confirmation that we have. This is probably why they wanted me to combine these decks, because I really don't use this deck very often. But in this case, I have to say, this really works. Okay. And where'd the horsey go? That's the Chariot's going off. It's ready to do the do. Okay. Okay, the Chariot's back online, and you know, it was ready to take these people over the edge of the next event horizon. Yeah, love it. Okay, the animal spirit card out is Buffalo. That's a lot of power. The abundant universe will provide. So this is a 10. It's an energy of completion. This is sweet. This is really interesting. So that's the spirit animal. Hope you can see this. Supporting soul tree. I love it when I think of the soul tree of the indigenous peoples and their genetics, and how they're contributing to the journey of awakening, and how they have contributed to not allowing the entire human collective to fall into such a deep sleep it could not be awakened. So shout out to all my indigenous people, to all my people of color, yeah, to your DNA, which is another story in and of itself. Shout out to you for helping out here in this way. Okie dokie. For soul writing, we have well, this is interesting. We have Pentacles. We have the Three of Pentacles, which is beginning a work, a sharing. We have the Ten of Pentacles. This feels very masculine energy to me. And here we have the Hierophant, which is the teacher and the authority holding the key to bringing abundance and organization. Let me look up the Three of Pentacles in the because like I said, I don't use this deck very often, and I want to make sure that I'm not mistranslating. Pentacles, 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 Pentacles. Oh, there we have. Yeah, well, I pretty much have it. The Three of Pentacles is teamwork, determination, and focus. Okay, we're good. Yeah, it's building something together. So the 3 is going to the 10, and it's being assisted by the Hierophant, which is the teacher and the authority. And again, I mean, really, look at that. Look at, it's just, honestly, as an artist, I really appreciate this. I do. I love it. Okay. So that, I think, if you're familiar with tarot, you know that the Three of Pentacles is about building and cooperation and teamwork, which is what co-creation is about. The Ten of Pentacles represents a really beautiful self-sustaining spiral of abundance. And the Hierophant is what is considered a major arcana card. And this is it doesn't matter to me, I don't think it's gender specific, but this is a higher authority with a deeply mature spirituality expressed in the world in a kind of an organized way, as perhaps as a teacher or a mentor. Okay. For soul family, I'm not done yet. Okay, yeah, this is interesting. So here we have the flamingo spirit, embrace the in-between, which I do believe is one of the functions of the Hierophant. He walks in between the worlds. So there you go. All right. So then for soul family, we have, interesting. Ooh, we have the Mother of Swords, the Son of Swords, and the Two of Cups. This is interesting to have these two roses here. That are they staves? Are they wands? Are they, were they transformed staves, transformed wands? That's the impression I have here. That this is the Mother of Swords, the Son of Wands, kind of combining the energies, the frequencies here as part of transforming this into this. That's very interesting. So this represents, again, the swords represents thoughts, ideas, concepts, and communication as well. Can be a form of very clear, transparent communication. Mother of Swords, so this would be the Queen of Swords. Here we have the Son of Wands. Now the Sun, I believe, is the equivalent to the Knight. It's not the King. It's not the Page. I could be wrong. But look at this. This is represented by a snake. Let me look at the book again. I don't know how, because I haven't used it this much, what this is about here. Wands. It's a minor arcana. The Son of, oh yeah, okay, yeah, this is this, I have it. Charming, adventurous. The Son of Wands is a true charmer. He's handsome and adventurous and seems to say all the right things. Some call him the White Knight of the Tarot, but at some point you may find he becomes hard to know. Trust your instinct with this one. Perfection is an illusion. Oh, beautiful. I love it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's all about snake energy and distorted sexuality that is expressed through the wand, through the male phallus. And here you have the Mother of Swords, which is saying, you know what, you got to quit that shit. You need to quit it. And that is transforming this. Service to self, use of sacred sexuality, completely foregoing truth and transparency and trust. And this is the transformation. And the divine masculines and the divine feminines are working on this together. So I do feel this energy is interesting. This represents a transformation of both sword and wand. Beautiful. And the animal card out for this, yes, is the frog spirit. This is clear out the clutter. This is cleansing. Beautiful energy here. And this is a water element, and so here you have the bubble of sacred water, the element of sacred water becoming part of cleansing, clearing out the clutter, anything that can be easily dissolved by water. And I would be remiss if I did not share with you that one of the products of my 30 years of doing the energy work and embodying so many frequencies that have been healing and transformative for people all over the world is our product Source Solutions. And so there will be a link in this video where you can go and check this out. I highly recommend that you do. You will find it incredibly valuable as you continue on your ascension journey, from helping make gentle shifts, powerful shifts from the atomic cellular level all the way up into your highest states of consciousness. So, got to do that. All right, now for visualize, I like how that, does that look like a very nice match there? It's a very nice pair. Visualize, we have the Mother of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands. So this is a new opportunity to come into transformational balance, right? Divine feminine, divine masculine in the balance of transformation. And this is also a new beginning, and this is passion. So this for me represents the transformation of sacred sexuality. And the Mother of Pentacles is here supporting the transformation of this. She's the Queen of Pentacles. And she's welcoming this new opportunity to engage this transformation with the Divine Masculine, to protect the new life, the new human species. Yeah? Very nice. And the card we have out is the Nightingale. Love is all around. So this is a reflection to me of the sound of the transformation that we're in right now, and how we're singing that sound and we're actually broadcasting it. And this is, for me, this is how we're generating our mission work. It begins as a sound, as an impulse within us. And I really appreciate how this is a very nice, very subtle, this energy, this energy, this energy. Notice there are two, right? There are two horns here. Love is all around. And so for those of you who are embarking on your mission work, I think this is a beautiful confirmation that you have the co-creative energy of unconditional love supporting you as you're bringing your mission work into the world first as the sound of source co-creation. Yeah, nice. Now, for expansion, for clarification, we have the Fool, the Magician, whoa, and the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, yeah, that works for me for expansion. I think this is how, how the expansion, this is the energy that we're going to be carrying. This is, again, a new opportunity for abundance, expansion into abundance. We have now the Magician, for me, is a conscious co-creator. And here we have the cup. We have all of the elements. We have earth, fire, water, and air. And so the Magician, or the conscious co-creation, is the energy, could be feminine or masculine, who has mastered their emotional bodies and cleared their pain bodies and transmuted their third chakra so that they can step into the power of the conscious co-creator, who can ask the elements to work in tandem with them, not as a command, but as a request. Right? That's the difference between service to self and co-creation. In conscious co-creation, we request the cooperation and collaboration of the four elements. And here we have the Fool. Here we have the here we have the fledgling about to take its first flight. And I just love how this stuff works, because here we have the Merkaba, which is how, when the ascension process continues, we will be taking flight. We will be making a journey of flight. We will be going off into a complete new and unknown states of consciousness as we return to source. It will be definitely a fool's journey. This is the zero. This is back into 0 point energy. And what a beautiful expansion that is, to take that first flying leap. I had an amazing dream in January of 2019. I'm not going to go into it now, but I really do need to write a blog post about it. So, you can check out my website. You might find that there. And it was about this incredible fool's journey that I took with 3 of my soul group companions. We went together. Oh, it's a beautiful dream. And it's been unfolding. It's been informing. It's continued to inform my waking consciousness for 8 months now. And it's been very much a part of my decision-making process as I've come into Sacred Union, and actually had an opportunity to meet another member of our soul group, which we had been looking for 3 years. We began looking for him in 2016, and now we have connected with him. So there that is. And the animals, oh yeah, yep. The animal spirit card here is learn from the past. That's what we're doing. We're taking all of those living lessons, which is the name of my other website, taking all of that information, learning from the past. But I will tell you, in my instance, because of where I come from and how I function, we're also learning from the future. And we're folding the future and the past into right now, and this is the process that we experience as merging timelines. So let me just drop that little bomb. Okay, now for soul love, we have, oh, this is interesting. We have the Mother of Cups, we have the Three of Cups, and we have the Eight of Cups. Now, the Mother of Cups would be the Queen of Cups, so she's major, I think she's major arcana. She's a court card. She may not be major arcana. And we have the Three of Cups, which is celebration. And the celebration here, this red and orange energy seems to be celebration of passion, of collaboration. That's beautiful. And then we have the Eight of Cups. So this could also represent going from 1 to 3, not understanding the sacred trinity of sacred union, and perhaps creating a disturbance in the field if this Three of Cups is anything other than divine masculine source and divine feminine. Could be, because here we have the Eight of Cups. And in this, we don't even have the two cups standing, which is usual in the traditional tarot. We do have two cracked cups here. And we have all this darkness. So I think the Mother of Cups is here to give us a kind of a tap on the shoulder, to say, be really awake and aware about how you express unconditional love and how you fill your own cup and how you share that love and how you do it in a way that's conscious so that you don't generate regret. For me, this is about walking away in regret. Because the dynamic wasn't understood. The real love wasn't understood. We got caught up in this. Woo, 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 woo. There it's gonna go. We got caught up in this. We get caught up in this. And we misuse the energy. And then we would end up with this in reverse, which would be part of getting to this place of regret and having the experience of unrequited love, which would be a bummer, especially right now. But that's up to you and the journey that you take with your own self-love. So I just think this is a bit of a warning coming into the next few weeks and months in the end of the year, that we're very, 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 very diligent about how we are expressing our love, so that we are in this energy of passionate collaboration and all the cups are getting filled. And here we have the birds reflecting the clarity of that, and that we are able to make choices so that we don't bring this into our union. We have choice. Okay, I think that's pretty appropriate for soul love. Dang. Oh, and look, we have the white raven spirit, which I think would be probably useful in transforming this dynamic. Yeah? In keeping this in balance and in connection with Source and the divine union journey. Oh, my stomach is rumbling. I'm getting so hungry. Now, for the divine masculine, we have... we have the Lovers. We have the Six of Cups, and we have Strength. I actually think this goes like this. Because this indicates that we, with the rose in its mouth, it's kind of cute. This indicates that we're working with the deep roots of connection in our neurology and our biology, and the Six of Cups is also related to deep, enduring relationships over long-standing periods of time, what we think of as time. And for many of us, this will represent the return of a love from a long ago. And for me in particular, this card represents the return of my divine counterpart from our journey out, where we went our separate ways many times, and we came back together many times. And in this particular cycle, we're having the strength to come back together again and to fly off on our next journey, which is back to source, together as a unified energy. So that is what's up for, that's what's clarifying the divine masculine, because it's going to take a lot of strength on his part to be able to stay with this journey. It's going to take a lot. But I really appreciate how this energy is reflected here in the neural network of the new divine masculine. And this includes his coming into remembrance of who his divine feminine is. Right? Not recognizing a reflection of himself in his soulmate, because we all have that experience where we fall in love with someone who reflects us back to ourselves. That's not divine union. Divine union is that we're whole, and we don't need a reflection back of who we are. We know who we are. What we need is a profoundly awake and aware, balanced energy, not a match. Balanced energy with whom we can co-create. Yeah. Okay. So I think this combination again of colors and understanding, it's very difficult for the divine masculine in a divine, let's talk about a divine masculine in a male body has got the hardest row to hoe right now. That's my expressed opinion. Because he is stepping down from 2/3 electrical charge, which is the distortion in the 3D construct. To get to 5D, he's got to step down his energy to being in balance, 1/3 electrical, 1/3 magnetic with feminine, and 1/3 united in source. This is coming out of the Vesica Pisces. This is really hard for the divine masculine because he's been carrying the burden, at least he thinks he has, of making the world work. Now, when I say the words making, yeah, here we go. There's Shea again. This is really, yeah. Every time I come up with a really interesting point that the distorted patriarchal male energy would not like to hear, or the 3D construct would not like you to hear, she barks. Okay, fun. All right. So here we have see, I talked to you about the Vesica Pisces, and she barked. The Vesica Pisces, the yin-yang, is a system of entropy. No new energy can come into that. It's a binary code system, and it leads to entropy, which, yeah, she's really going to bark, because I'm talking truth to you that the system does not want you to hear. Interesting. But I'm going to go on. I'm going to talk louder. I'm not going to stop. So you've got to come out of the misconception of the Vesica Pisces, because it is that entropic system of energy in which no new energy can come in, which makes clearing your emotional body and releasing your pain body and transmuting organically your third chakra so much work, because you are absolutely banging up against binary code, and banging up against the 3D construct, and banging up against all the stories of dysfunctional relationship, banging up to break through and to create the space. I'm gonna do this now. Yeah. Create the space where you're no longer in binary, you're no longer in a binary code, dead system of energy, but now you're in the system that is eternal and regenerative. This is where we have to break through the Vesica Pisces. And the divine masculine, man, there is so much energy tied up into that, quote, paradigm, that belief system, you wouldn't believe it. Yin yang. It's one of the biggest bamboozles of the spirituality that is allowed to function through the snake energy system that is the 3D construct. It's amazing to me. And everybody buys it, lock, stock, and barrel, and they don't really go any further, ask any deeper questions. That's why it's been required for energies like me, and there are several of us around the globe right now, to come through and just go, just a second, we want to just ask you to take a look at this and think about it. And then figure it out for yourself, right? Okay, so we have that. And for the divine masculine, for the animal spirit, we have the brown bear spirit, which is take time out, yes, and trust in divine detours, yes. So here we have a very quick moving, very stealthy, and I would call this an energy of ingenuity. And here we have a very slow moving, but yet very agile and very powerful. These two things combined really are part of the best frequencies and features of any divine masculine energy, whether in a female body or a male body. Trust in divine detours, take the time out. So here's the thing. When we're going through a timeline merge, and we just went through one, and we're going to be going through them probably at least maybe, I don't know what the interval will be, but we're going to be going through them a lot as we're coming through to 2020, and some of you may go through those Mandela experiences again. When you're in 5D, you are aware that there's a timeline shift. It's a conscious process for you. And when you're in 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D, and you're within all of your densities, you're awake and aware of all those densities, you can actually collapse a timeline, merge your own timeline, and it's a function of conscious choice. But you can't reach that frequency until and unless you have come through the union gate. And there's very little likelihood that you are going to crash and burn within your union. Could happen, but the chances are very small that will occur. Okay, my goodness gracious. Well, this has been very interesting. Woo! Thank you for hanging in there if you're still watching. I am not doing, obviously, an extended reading. This is a very complete, clear reading in and of itself. I hope the information has been valuable to you. And because I don't run commercials on my channel, my YouTube channel was taken down, my Living Lessons Library channel was taken down because I actually promoted another light worker. And that got interpreted as a copyright infringement. I mean, I don't know how you put up a video of someone else's work and the first thing that people see is the link to that person and their work and that website. That's a little bizarre to me, but that's what can happen on Google. So I'm not able to, I don't have enough subscribers yet to be able to do the ads thing. But what I can do is let you know about the rest of my work. And I am on the East Coast, I'm in the Philadelphia area, and I do invite you to take a look at my website, Sourced Solutions. The link will be in the description. It's sourced.life/solutions. I do invite you to go to our Shopify shop and take a look at what is available to you to assist you for a very nominal cost. A vial like this will last you a month unless you're in a real kind of trigger release reaction flare crisis. Please take a look. I would appreciate your stopping by. My extended readings uploaded there, and you can view them for the $10. Whereas when you go and you do an extended reading viewing, it's $7 per extended reading. So you do that math and figure out if that's interesting to you. Okay, my extended readings uploaded there, and you can view them for the $10. Whereas when you go and you do an extended reading viewing, it's $7 per extended reading. So you do that math and figure out if that's interesting to you. Okay, so now you're going to see, I am going to put a promotional video at the end of this reading. It is my own promotional video. It is not an ad, but it is really great information for you. And it's very resonant for a lot of people, and maybe it will be something that intrigues you and moves you to take an action on your own behalf. Okay, thank you very much for stopping by. If this has been a reading that's resonated for you, please do like, share, and comment. It's very, very, I'm a co-creator. I don't like working in a vacuum. So I appreciate the energy being circulated and the communication working both ways. Thank you very much, and have an amazing day wherever you are. And I wish you every sense of peace, blessing, abundance, gratitude, unconditional love for those of you who are beginning your mission work in earnest. Thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you so much for being who you are. Bye-bye.